So, my name is Mitch. Thanks for coming. I guess you have to, but thank you for coming anyway. I noticed your shirt, your jackets. You have like different flags. Are those like where you're from or nationality kind of thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a few Lebanese.
Oh, no.
Is anybody here by chance Canadian?
Where is
I am. I'm Canadian. I actually did the IB myself when I was in high school. I have to be honest, I hated it. I don't know what you're thinking, but I thought it was really hard. I'm an example of someone who can reinvent themselves many times. So, yeah, I did the IB. The first thing I did right out of the IB was actually to fly airplanes in the military. So that was my job. I wouldn't hurt to fly though. I'm super pacifist, but I'm also pragmatist. I'm just like, well, I want to learn how to fly. It's really expensive. I know. I'll join the military. They'll pay me to do it. It's like, but I don't want to hurt anyone. I was like, it's fine. It's Canada. We don't invade anyone. And it was fine. So I did that for 5 years. It was great, but I realized I liked training the new pilots more than I liked the actual missions. Missions were okay, but I really like training new people. And of course, in the military, if you've done something wrong, your punishment is to have to be a teacher. And I was like, no, I want to. And like, no, you're doing fine. You're doing great. You don't have to. I was like, I understand. Can I still do it? I realized I think I should be a teacher. So that's why I switched to being a teacher. So you understand that. Then I met a really nice Danish girl who worked at the embassy in Canada. So that's why I'm married, and that's why I live in Denmark. So I'm a Canadian who lives in Denmark. So I live in Copenhagen, where I've been for 14 years. Now I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old daughter. They're hilarious. They only speak to me in Danish. So I speak to them in English, and they answer in Danish. It's wacky. It's great. So when we go shopping, people think it's really weird. What is happening? It wasn't planned. It was like, I'll just speak English and see what happens. Turns out they don't speak English. They understand it perfectly. They don't feel it. Fair enough. So what I do now, I have an example that you can sort of reinvent yourself over and over again. I don't have one job. I don't seem to be satisfied with that. I have 3 jobs. It's kind of weird. So Mondays and Thursdays, I have this company that I started called Study Nova. So that's what I work on that. On Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I work in an IB school in Denmark. And then on Fridays, I'm an astronomer, so I do astronomy, nerdy stuff. I like it. But I'm here in this capacity today to speak to you about math studies. This is what you're doing, right? Come on in, please. Come on, sit. So I'm here to speak to you about math studies, and it's not really a math class today, okay? I'm not here to teach you math. That's what you do with your teacher. Okay? So my job isn't to come in here and try to teach you math. No, you do that in math class. Today we're going to talk about the exam itself. Because what I like when you run your own company, I'm very lucky. My wife happens to be having a really good job. That makes all the money. I don't need any money. It's great. So what would you do if you could do anything you wanted? That is literally, I was like, I don't know how I got so lucky. This is amazing. Really cool life. Great life. I get to do everything I want. So what would you do if you could? This is what I do. This Study Nova is sort of like a passion project of mine. The company is a non-profit, which means any money that rolls into it, I roll it right back into the company because I don't need it. My wife. It's awesome. I'm not going to lie, it's actually pretty great. So that means that I can get to do the things that I want to do, like come here. Do you know how much I charge a school to come here? Nothing. In fact, I pay to come here because I have to pay for my plane ticket here. So I paid to come here from Denmark to speak to you because I liked it. I'm only here one more day in Dubai, then I'm in Doha next week, and then I go back. So, the reason I'm speaking to you about this is because when I started this company, this Study Nova, I remember thinking, I wish someone would spend the time and the effort to analyze every single question from every single exam. So I did. It's kind of nice. I can make any objections. No? Good, I'll do it. That's what I've done. So I'm here to speak to you about the results of that analysis. So, here's the good news for you. Do you know that you're the last group to go through this math studies exam? Did you know about this? Like, so there's this math studies syllabus. Like, do you know anybody in the year before you?
Yeah, they don't take it.
The math studies does not exist anymore. Now the closest version to it is called Math Applications SM. It's way harder. There's a lot more to it. So this is actually a good thing. Be thankful you're taking it now and not the year after. This is actually a good course, and it's very good news for you. It's a very mature syllabus. What does that mean? It means I have a lot of past exams to look at in order to use those to predict.
Oh yeah, like next year's class, are you going to have this?
Next, when I come and do a workshop like this next year, it's going to be like, here are my guesses as to what might be on the exam. Here I could be like, no, here's what's going to show up. I know because I've done all the questions. I have this insane spreadsheet that tracks all this stuff. I really like programming too, so I've made some pretty neat things to help me figure out what's what. I'm here then today to share with you those results. Okay, so the secrets, sorry, it's a little bit sort of dumb name. It's not really a secret. The secret is know your math. Okay, sorry. You gotta know your stuff. It's not really a secret. I can't tell you what's going to be on the exam because I don't write the exam. But I am one of the people who mark it. So this year I'm going to be doing Math Studies paper 2, Math SL paper 2, and Physics HL paper 2 as well. So I'm marking all, I'm a sucker for punishment. So I just get a big giant stack. Well, now it's digital, but still. So there's a non-zero chance I might be marking one of your exams. I can tell you a lot of, does anybody here by chance take physics? That's not a lot. No, it's possible. At my school, I have lots of Math Studies kids taking physics. It's fine. I was going to say, because that exam is not fair. That exam is actually really mean. Like, it'll make you cry. The good news is, the Math Studies exam is fair. I won't say easy, but I'll say fair. In that there's a list of stuff you're supposed to learn. Then you get to the exam, and, oh, yeah, they asked me that stuff. And things belong where they should. You'll see. We'll talk about that. Talk about why it's fair. Now, I don't want to say the word easy. If I say, oh, this is easy, and if you don't understand it, now you feel stupid. You see what I mean? Like, have you ever been that person? Maybe this is the cause I think twice. Like, if someone says, hey, can you help me out? And then you go, that's easy. What have you just done? You've just made that person feel stupid. You haven't done anything except for just like step on them a little bit when they're down. No, if they're brave enough, a risk taker enough, like the IB says you're supposed to be. But yeah, if you're supposed to be a risk taker. If you're going to be a risk taker enough to ask for help, if you're asked for help, don't tell someone, oh, that's really easy. That just makes them feel stupid. Okay, so do you think I find the exam easy?
Yeah.
I better. And you know what? Who cares? It doesn't matter if I find it easy. It matters how you find it. So keep in mind this. When we're going to talk about some of the different topics, I'm going to talk about things that are straightforward or tricky. I won't use the word easy because it depends on you. Like if there's a topic that I find easy and you find easy, but you don't, all these are correct. For you it's easy, for you it's not, let's say, right? There's nothing wrong with you, it's just the way you are. And maybe you have different topics you find easier than others. Fair enough. But when I look through the exams, I always assume you knew all the things. Okay, so when I look at an exam question, I think, assume a student knew all the things you had to know. Now is this question straightforward? And some of them are. Some of them are like, if you knew this thing, like, it's super simple. If you didn't know it, of course you can't do it. But some of them, even if you knew the things, they're a little bit tricky. Fair enough. It's not supposed to be super easy to get a set. You know what I mean? So I say fair, I won't say easy. So Math Studies exam is fair. Now, I figured I would start off, it's early morning. The best thing to do for students early morning in Math Studies is take a quiz.
No.
And don't worry, it's not that kind of quiz. I like to do this, I'm a bit of a troll. So don't worry, we're going to have some fun here. I'm hoping I'm going to make you smile, so don't worry. Okay, it'll be a fun kind of quiz. It's not a quiz about how well do you know math. That you do with your teacher. Okay, you're going to have lots of that. This is an easy kind of quiz. It's, hey, how well do you know the exam? Because remember, I've analyzed every question on the exam, so I've got questions you might find really interesting. Like, hey, after analyzing every single question, which topic has the least points allocated to it? Wouldn't that be interesting to know?
Mathematical models.
I don't know. By the way, are there any topics you haven't done?
Calculus.
You haven't done calculus. Okay, have you done most of the other ones?
Yeah.
Oh, good. You guys are well on track. That's good. That's actually very good. I was at another school 2 days ago. I won't say which school, but there was one school where they were missing a lot of things.
Yeah.
They hadn't done, there's 3 topics that they still hadn't done. And the teacher was like, it's my first time doing this, like, should I be worried? And I didn't want to say it in front of the students, but I was like, absolutely, you should be extremely worried. Like, this is very bad. Because they hadn't done the statistical applications. I was like, well then how did your students do their IAs? Like, yeah, we're going to do this later. I was like, yes, of course. 'Cause it's hard if you haven't done it. Like a teacher who knows what they're doing will usually teach you the statistical applications first in order to give you the tools you need to likely do the most likely IAs, which are on stats. Did you all do stats ones?
Yeah.
So do my students. It's not a problem. It's like, yeah, of course. It lends itself very well. Doesn't mean you have to do it on stats, but a lot of students do. But you know what? It's a good topic. It lends itself very well to IA, so why not? You know, it's kind of interesting. There seems to be a stigma, at least at some schools, I don't know how it is here, Do you feel stigmatized because you took math studies?
Yep.
Do you feel like there's anything wrong with you because you took
Yes.
it? You shouldn't.
I feel
Hey.
I work at 3 different IB schools. I've worked at 3 different IB schools in Denmark. Okay, and I can tell you that every one of the students at Copenhagen International School, another one called Vikel, another one called these are like these 3 sort of big name schools in Denmark. Every year, some of their students end up going to Oxford. They're all really top schools. I've kept track in the last 10 years. Every one of the students from any of those 3 schools who went to Oxford, all of them did math studies.
I feel so much better now.
100%.
We're Oxford.
All of them. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to do Oxford, I'm saying, but these extremely clever students were so clever, they realized, hey, if I don't need to do Math SL, why do it? Why bother? Why not take one where I maybe get a better chance of getting a better mark? These are clever students. And they were ostracized a little bit from the school. Like, yeah, you're doing Math SL. I said, check it out, I'm going to get a 7. Like, 7 looks better than a 4 in Math SL, doesn't it? Like, yeah. So some students do it that way. So there's a lot of really clever people in math studies as well. Which one are you at? So, which topic has the least amount of marks associated to it? Are you ready to vote?
Yeah.
Remember I said the IB says you're supposed to be a risk taker, so take a risk now. Okay, this is very low stakes. See? Do you notice you're not so worried anymore? You made a face when I said the quiz. Are you less worried now? You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So don't you dare look at your neighbors like, what are we voting on? Come on. Right now, have your own opinion, okay?
Okay.
I always vote for the underdog. So if there's one where everybody votes and only one person votes for it, I hope it's right. Not one person. Let's see. So, and this might be interesting to the teacher as well. Numbers and algebra, you know about that one? Just to remind you which topics are which, because maybe you haven't learned them as topic 1. Maybe you've just done the things. Teachers don't always tell you exactly what the topic is called. Hey, we're doing topic 2. I don't know, have you named them like 1 and 2, or have you said, we're just going to do this stuff? Because I usually don't bother telling them we're doing topic 2. I just say, now we're going to do some statistics, let's do it. Like I teach them the thing. The label doesn't matter as much. But so, topic 1, numbers and algebra, that contains arithmetic and geometric. It contains financial math, currency, some of that stuff, you know, like playing with numbers. Descriptive statistics, what's that? That's when you put stuff in your calculator. It's basically that one. You put it in and do like stat. Which calculator do you use?
Yeah.
You use it in Inspire?
Yeah.
Yes. You're the first school in Dubai that I've visited so far that does the Inspire. Good choice. It's absolutely the better one.
What are the...
Everyone else is doing the TID4, the Casio, which they're okay. I've used them all. But I made the switch last year to the Inspire, and it's the best decision I've made with my students. It is way better. Do you use NSolve everywhere?
Yeah.
It's like, honestly, when I use the TI Inspire, I was like, hold on, that looks like NSolve. How about NSolve? How about,
Well, you can't do that on the other one.
finance, and then NSolve. Okay, so you basically use NSolve everywhere and graph and find solutions. It's awesome.
Well, you can't do that on the other one.
No, not quite. There's weird. You kind of can. You have to trick it. Trust me, the Inspire is.
Sometimes easy.
It didn't used to be. Before, it used to be, yeah, they're all pretty good. They're just slightly different. Now, all this one is way easier to use. So, good choice. But your teacher who chose, well done. So, this is the one where you basically put in stuff in a list and say, 1 more stats, please.
Oh, yeah.
Mathematical models, that's functions, that's, these can be tricky. This is like exponentials, this is quadratic, sneaky stuff there. And calculus, you haven't done it yet. So which do you think is the least marks allocated to it? Which do you think shows up the least? I'll let you vote. You ready? Who votes A? Who votes A? Raise your hand. Proud. No one. Who votes B? I like, you know what? I love when teachers play along. You say no, I like you way more. Okay, so who votes C? You're supposed to be risk takers, right? I don't like your teachers are risk. Who votes D? Okay, so everything but A. No, it's not A. Do you feel emotion now? Do you care about the answer now? It's a tie between B and D.
Oh.
So some of you were right.
Yeah, I think
It's only recently it's a tie. So, this is good or bad news. It depends on how you feel about them. Descriptive statistics, most students say this is easy. Remember I said it'll depend on you. You may not. But I would at least argue this is relatively straightforward. There exist some tricks. When you know the tricks, these are fairly straightforward. It's like, what's the interquartile range? You have to know that it's Q3 minus Q1. But when you know that, like, you have to be good at your calculus, right? How about calculus? Well, most students I work with, when I say what's the hardest topic, virtually every math studies student says, I don't get calculus. this is good news. Can you not see this? I just realized I'm sort of writing you. Can you just write this to me if it. So, calculus is one that a lot of students find tricky. I usually do it near the end because it's one that requires an understanding of like functions and graphs. It sort of puts everything together. Pay attention, sure, but if you're really struggling, good news, it's not worth as much. It's not actually good news, like the one that a lot of people find hardest, it's not worth so much. Yesterday I was at another school, but Jess, do you know that school? With a big long set of ones on physics. They have a physics department. There, my attitude is way different. I was like, oh, you have bad news. The one that's really tough is worth the most. It's worth a quarter of the exam. And you'll get to your exam and you will cry. It's not fair, you won't even finish it. If it's physics, you won't even come close to finish the exam. It won't even be anywhere close. I've never been able to finish the exam on time. Not once. I mark that. You'll probably finish math studies exam. You may not, but most students finish it or get close. You don't always do it perfectly. Of course you make mistakes, you get stuck. That happens. But most students at least go through it. Like in physics, if there's 9 questions on paper 2, most students only get to question 6. Then I get to learn some swear words in a new language. The last year I had a bunch of Latvian ones. I looked at them, oh, that's a good one. That's a good swear word. All right, so paper 1 and 2 together are worth what % of your final mark? I'll let you vote. Okay, so what I mean by this, I mean paper 1 and 2, if you took the totals of those and put them together. Okay, so what do they add up to? In other words, your 2 days that you have your exam. I'll let you vote. You ready? Who votes A? Who thinks it's
I
90?
don't understand the question.
Okay, and I'm glad you asked. Risk take thing.
What is easy?
Good. All right, so if you don't understand the question, what I mean is if you take your entire grade in the IB is made up, I'll tell you what, it's made up of 3 things. There's only 3 things that count. Every test and quiz you've done in class, it may mean something for predicting grades, telling you how you're doing. It means 0 for the IB. It means none. I tell my students, you can get a 1 on every single test, every single quiz I give you, and still get a 7 in the class. It's not likely. It doesn't often happen because usually it's an indicator, but it's theoretically it's possible. You have 3 things you have to do. You have a paper 1, you have a paper 2, and you have 2 letters, IA. Those 3 things together make up 100% of your IB grade. Okay, so if I take away the IA, what are paper 1 plus paper 2 worth, percentage-wise? So your whole mark. Okay, so out of 100, what do you think they're worth? Now you can do some math. If you know what the IA is worth, what's 100 minus your IA? You know what it is then?
It's 85. Yeah.
Well, let's think. Who votes A? Who thinks it's 90? Who votes B? Who votes C? Who votes D? Bad news. For those who voted D, it's actually 80%. 80. Because your IA is worth 20. And 100 minus 20 is 80. Now, they're equally weighted. So paper 1 is worth, we're doing math in our heads now. 40 and 40. 40 and 40. So paper 1 is worth 40% of your entire grade. Paper 2 is worth 40% of your entire grade, and your IA is 20. No pressure. This is why I think the IB is a challenge. It is a lot of pressure to put on you, isn't it? And also, by the way, you're also supposed to, figure out who you are as a person. Oh yeah, figure out your whole career and your whole life. No pressure.
How can we do that?
So, is it any surprise that students right around now, at least at a lot of the schools I worked at, right around this time of year, you start finding students in their final year, like their eye just starts leaking randomly. Like, oh yeah, cracks happen. It's normal. There's nothing wrong with you. Welcome to being a human. You know what you can do though? If you see your friend maybe like crying, like give them a hug, give them a coffee, because you're gonna need that hug and coffee. You know what I mean? So help each other out. And we laugh about it now. Ha, ha, ha. It's kind of true, isn't it? I did. I broke down completely. I'm not gonna lie. It's tough work, especially the final year. So just keep this in mind. The good news, it ends. There is an ending. It's very soon. For good or for bad, it's over soon. But why not give it everything you can? Accept this, that it is stressful. Be like, yeah, I am stressed. Maybe ask for help. Do you know what you can do? A really smart thing you do? For example, with your parents? No, not hire a tutor. Actually, tutors don't always work. Don't work hard with your tutor. It doesn't matter. It has almost no effect. So actually, which is weird because I run a tutoring company. I shouldn't tell you, but I do. So if you want tutoring, you're welcome to, but you got to be willing to work hard. I'm a bad businessman. Can you say like, yeah, I know why it doesn't work. What matters is you work hard. If you ever think, I'll just throw money, for example, at the end of this, I'm going to tell you about a revision course you can come to and come and join us. I say, yeah, you can, but don't come. If you're not willing to work hard, actually don't bother coming. You're not going to get anything out of it. My course actually fills up. We usually have a long, long waiting list, so actually don't waste a space. I'd rather give it to someone else who's willing to work hard. If you're willing to work hard, absolutely come join us. So it's about hard work, and isn't that kind of annoying? There's no shortcut. It's like, yeah, just tell me like the shortcut. The heck, what's the secret? I'm sorry, the secret is work really hard. I'm sorry, but that is it. Like, know your stuff, work really hard. Students hate that. Like, yeah, but what's the shortcut? There isn't. I often get exam-related emails. Last year was a lady, she said, my son needs to get a 7 in physics. What's the minimum number of past exams he should look at to be guaranteed a 7?
Guaranteed.
Almost everything she said was flawed. I was like, I don't even know how to deal with this. It's like, minimum number? It's like, the minimum number is start by doing all of them. 100% of them. Start with that. That's the minimum. It's like, no, but like, shouldn't we just do one? It's like, no, do every one of them. Start with that. Like, that's a lot of work. Yeah. That's how you get a 7. Can we just get some tutoring? You can. He's probably not going to get a 7. If he has that attitude. Right? If he has the attitude of, yeah, I'm going to work hard, maybe it's doable, then absolutely you have a chance. I'm of the opinion that almost anyone in math studies can get a 5, 6, or 7, regardless of your math ability. I've seen it happen in my classes. I work my students really, really hard though, but keep in mind that if you're willing to work hard, almost anyone can get a 5, 6, or 7. Regardless of math ability. It's not the same in like Math SL, you have to have some math ability to get a 5. You actually have to have some sort of skills, but in math studies, if you're like totally useless in math, but you're willing to work really hard, I'm telling you, this is doable. It is absolutely doable. You have to do the work. So, what I'm going to tell you about is going to be things like where to do the work, what to actually really pay attention to. Okay, so 80%, so it's a bit of pressure, right? All right. What's the difference between paper 1 and paper 2? They're both worth 40%. What's the difference between?
Paper 1.
I'll let you pick, and I just want to keep it on the time, so I'm done at 9:50. Right? I'll let you vote. Who votes A? No difference. Who votes B? Who votes C? Who votes D? You switch back to B?
I didn't vote.
Okay. It's B. So, shorter answer, longer answer. This is good for you. Because see, you've been learning all about the mathematics in your class. Sounds like you guys have been doing the right things. It's now a decent time to start thinking tactically about the exam. The exam isn't just know a bunch of math and show up. I mean, it is, but there's more to it than that. That's what I'm here to try to show you. You can actually guess at a lot of things that are going to show up because it's reasonable. The physics exam, remember I said it's not reasonable? This one's reasonable. Shorter answer means it's got to take you less time to solve it. They're worth 6 marks each question. There's 15 of them. 15 questions worth 6 marks each. They're relatively short then. That means if it's a thing that takes you a lot of steps to do, are they going to ask it? No, where's that going to show up? Boom. So you can already start thinking, hey, this thing, is it short or long to do? Like, oh, that takes a while, paper 2. Oh, this is pretty short to do, paper 1. You can already start predicting. And the good news, things show up where they should. The short things go on paper 1. The longer things go on paper 2. The things they think are important, they ask them on both. So, it's reasonable. Okay. For which papers you're allowed a formula book? Now my first language is French, so it took me so long to say the word both. I couldn't say both, I always said both. My dad still does, he can barely speak English. He's like, both of them. But I always say both of them. So yeah, both of them, yeah. So paper 1 and 2. Isn't this good news? Yes. You don't have to memorize. Did anybody do the GCSEs? No. By chance? If you did, okay, you learned some neat stuff. The problem is the exams are brutal because you have to memorize it all. And honestly, when I look at that, like, that is a waste of my students' brain power. Like, let's concentrate on using this stuff. Like, don't just like, what's this? You're never going to care. If you need it later, you're going to look it up. And it's fun. My wife, she did the IB as well. She did the version of what's now called math studies. She got a 3. She's in charge of everything at her company. She's a CEO. The way she put it to us, she's like, if I need to do math, I hire some math nerd to do it. I was like, yeah, exactly. So you don't have to memorize everything. It's fine. What I like about math studies, you concentrate on using it. So I'm actually all for the fact that you get a formula book. There's very little to memorize. I guess memorize like SOHCAHTOA, that probably helps. You know that one?
Yeah.
You sort of laugh, but doesn't that actually help?
It does.
I learned that in the US, and I was like, that is so stupid, but you know what? I still remember like SOHCAHTOA. Isn't there a better way? There is, but I always think, when I see it right angle triangle, SOHCAHTOA, hold on. Yeah. So that's, I guess, a thing to memorize. Another thing to memorize is probably, the conditions for chi-squared. Like you reject your H0 if blah, blah, blah. That's maybe a good thing to memorize. Maybe there's a few definitions from logic. Have you guys done logic yet? Yeah, so there's a few definitions. Do you remember that from logic? There's things like, hi, welcome. There's things like converse, contrapositive, tautology. There's a few definitions that are sort of nice to know. That's about it, really. They give you everything else you need. Oh, no one wants to sit in the middle. You're a brave. Thanks for sitting.
Islam.
All right, so which topic has the most marks allocated? By the way, I didn't ask you though. Are you allowed to use a calculator on both exams?
TI.
And it's not just allowed, it's required. Because some of my students are like, I really like doing it by hand. Don't. You'll be at a disadvantage extreme. Like these questions are meant to be, some of them are like, oh, I'll do this, I'll find the zeros of this thing. Don't spend all your time doing it by hand. It's like, calculator does that for you. Do you know how to do that, by the way? You do a graph. Open up a new graph page, graph whatever you need to, and ask it for the zeros. Or do graph trace. It's awesome. It sort of sticks. It's like, oh, you might care that it's a 0. I did, thank you. If you ever use the old TI-84, that one doesn't. Its trace function is really stupid. It just guesses where it thinks you want to be, and it's never where you want it to be. It's dumb. But the Inspire is awesome. That one, it's like, it knows. It's like, you probably care that this is a maximum. I'm like, I did. Thank you, Inspire. Thanks. I actually did want to know this. So just everything it does is just a little bit easier. So, which topic has the most marks? That's maybe the most interesting one, right? I didn't put calculus or stat. Too smart enough to know it wasn't those. So, numbers and algebra shows up again. Logic sets probability. Stat applications. That's linear regression, chi-squared, normal distributions. All that stuff belongs there. Then we got geometry and trigonometry. That's triangle stuff. Sine law, cos law. You've got SOHCAHTOA, that sort of stuff. And the 3D geometry. So, which do you think has the most marks? It's not a tie. There's one winner, and it's the clear winner every time. I'll let you vote. I like this. I like hearing differences. So, who votes A? Vote proud. Who votes B? Who votes C? Who votes D?
No, not B. Wait, what?
I like that audible gasp.
That's a big either.
I would have thought it was numbers and numbers, but if you had asked me before I did this analysis, I would have guessed this. It felt to me like there was more of this. I was not rushing.
This is where we're at right now.
It felt like more of this to me. It felt like a lot of that. It's actually this.
Thank God I'm doing that.
Say again?
It's the easiest one.
Are you right now?
Yeah.
Does this motivate you to pay extra attention? Pay attention. Like, pay attention. Some people love tricks, some people hate it. I don't know if this is good or bad news for it. It depends on you. It depends on you. They do like to put it, especially 3D geometry. They love that. And what's kind of fun, seems like, this is very just anecdotal, but it seems like in my classes, it seems like there's roughly half the brains can understand it really quickly. Half people just can't. It doesn't seem to be related to their smartness in math. Some of them, like really clever math guys, cannot do it. Sometimes the ones who totally don't understand it completely get the 3D stuff. So, like, how's this? If I give you like a picture, like a 3D pyramid, and I say like, what's the height of it? What the people who can do it do, they imagine in their head, they imagine it like sideways. Oh, it's a right angle triangle. Boom, SOHCAHTOA.
You just draw.
Right? Some people that look at it and go, I don't know. This looks really weird. So the trick is, if you're not good at that stuff, practice. Because it will show up a lot.
My shop.
So, very important. All right, this is how it goes. So you get 90 marks to do paper 1, and it's, ooh, how many minutes is that?
Whatever.
90 minutes. So how many minutes per mark?
1.
Roughly, right? On average. That's not exact. It's not like you have a timer. It's 2 marks, exactly 2. No. Take longer or shorter. Sometimes if you know how to end solve it, it's like, that was 4 marks, like I did it in like 10, 15 seconds. And sometimes it's one that takes a while to do, so it's not exact. Keep that in mind. But just as a rough idea.
Right, but if you use end solve, you have to show your work.
Yeah, you know how you show your work though? For end solve, it's awesome. You say this. Boom. Finally finished, you're done. That's how you show your work. It's so easy.
Never used
I never learned how to use end solve.
Oh, you need to show your work for everything, if you can, because there's something to show. What? If you did a graph and you asked your calculator for the zeros, that's a pretty common thing to do. That's like a pro tip. People are getting really good at math studies. They can do this. Hopefully that'll be you. Ready? Let's say you had to find this. Like I asked you to do like x squared minus 4x plus 8. I'm just guessing now, and I'm not even going to be smart enough to think about what. Well, I know it's a parabola. Probably right. And I know it opens upwards, but I don't really care to think about like where it is. Let's just pretend it went like this. Let's just say. And I want to say, hey, what are the values that make x equal 0? There's a bunch of ways to do this.
Trace.
You could use trace. Yeah. So if you did a graph, I would just say this. I'd say used GDC, and I would draw this exact sketch. Is this a very detailed sketch?
No.
This is super dodgy, right? But I would go like this. Boom, and I would just like label them like so. X equals 3 and x equals minus 2. I'm done.
Would this be a
I fully showed my work completely. So you don't have to write a book. Just show them what you did. So it doesn't have to be exact. Use GDC. Do you know what that stands for, by the way? Some of my students are like, they use a swear word, so something kind of graphical display. So you say use GDC, and you can just say, I did a sketch. Do you notice that this tells the person marking it, this student clearly knew to do the sketch, and they're clearly looking for the zeros, and they found them.
So you're going to be more efficient.
What if, and this didn't take long, did it? This took a few seconds. I don't say, I then pressed, some people are like, I pressed this, then I did that. Oh God, no. Don't tell me that. But just show me.
Cool.
Now, what if you did it wrong? This brings up a really good question. So what if this was part A, and then part B was like, I don't know, to use these somehow. But what if I did it wrong? So what if, oh, how about this? What if I don't know how to do this? What if I look at part A and I have no clue how to do it? This is especially important on paper 2. You know these questions that have lots of parts?
No.
This is a pro tip for you, okay? From someone who marks these. Don't ever be this student. Ready? The student who looks at a part of the question and then when you can't do it anymore, you just stop the rest of the question. Don't ever do that.
They're not ready.
You give up a whole bunch of marks. What you do is this. If you don't know how to do part A, because that's going to happen. Maybe you have no idea how to do part A. So they say, hey, what's X? And you have no clue. I don't know how to do that. And then later, and I'll give you a really dumb example. I mean, it'll never be this easy, but let's just say they said, hence, you know, find, I don't know, like x minus 3. I mean, it'll never be that easy, but let's just pretend, okay? And let's say this one here was out of 2 marks. This one here is out of 4 marks. I mean, it won't be. Let's just assume it was something like this. Do you recognize there's different parts to questions?
Yeah.
It could be B-I, B-I, it doesn't. So I look at this and I go, I don't know how to do this. I don't leave it blank. You should guess. I don't know.
You can get like one more from
X equals 1?
Oh.
Actually, no, you'll probably get 0. Unless you're extremely lucky, you're probably going to get 0. So very likely you're going to get, yeah, right. Okay. But, do you know how to do this part when you crappy answer?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I'm like, all right, 1 minus 3 is minus 2. Now, let's pretend the answer was supposed to be x equals 3, let's just say. So the answer was supposed to be 0, okay? That's what it should have been. Now, technically, so you did x equals 1, you got 0 out of 2. You wrote this. The mark scheme said it's supposed to be 0. How many marks am I going to give you?
3.
That's a really good question.
1.
How many marks am I going to give you right here? So you got an answer wrong, you used your wrong answer, and you actually did it correct. Because we'll always check. Like, use your crappy answer correct.
1 or 2.
3 marks.
Okay, so you put it or you voted it.
Wait, what?
Oh no.
This is how it works.
How? But the numbers are wrong.
He has the
Agreed, but it's only wrong because your answer in A was wrong.
Also, you're getting the actual way you did it.
They look at they, means me, and a lot of others.
Like in the
This is the rule. I want you to know So watch very carefully. So watch very carefully. This is the rule. It's always marked this way. This is like the rule of the IB. I wanted to make sure you knew this. So pro tip, if you don't know how to do a part, guess. Make it easy. Don't make like x equals like 50,000 or whatever. Make it 1. Come on, make it easy. And then use your wrong answer correctly. And some people, they think they're cheating. Like, I know it's not x equals 1, but I'll assume it is. Lol, oh my god. And you get like hearts and happy faces, whatever. I was like, no, you're actually doing it right. Keep going. Yes. Now, I will have to check. You used your crappy answer correct. So I will be like, all right, had their answer been 1, what would their answer have been? We always do have to check. It means extra work for us, but I promise you, I'm always happy. When I see this, I'm like, yes!
You're
it was
always
wrong.
happy to do our others.
Yeah, that's the rule, yes, because a sample of what I mark has to be sent to someone who marks my marking. It goes up, there's 4 levels of that. So my marking, how's this? Everyone's scared. When I'm marking, I'm nervous because someone's basically looking over mine. Everyone's scared. Welcome to the end. So no one's comfortable. The person, but it's a good idea. So the person marking it can't just be a total jerk and not apply this. Because if a sample of my stuff gets sent up, think about this guy's a moron. Don't let him mark exempt. This is the rule. Isn't this good to know?
Yes.
So guess something you don't know and keep going. Other pro tip: if you see the word hence,
Yes.
you know, hence means use what you just did. Another pro tip: if it's a big long question, you have no idea what to do, very likely use the stuff you just did. Have you done probability yet? I'll answer your question.
Yes.
Have you done probability before?
Yes.
Okay, so like, what if I asked a question where it's like, find the probability of this, and maybe you found that. And you also found the probability of B. Let's just say this is like part A, this is part B. And those are tough enough. Like there was some stuff, you had to do some things, and you found them. Even if they're wrong, you found them. Now, if you're going to guess at a probability, what should you guess? Should you guess 3?
No.
Nope. Pro tip,
Fraction.
probability is between 0 and 1. Give me a decimal or something.
0.25.
What would you guess?
0.5.
0.5. Sure. And then what about probability of B?
0.3.
0 point? Oh, can't do that. Actually.
7.
Yeah, it actually needs to be higher.
0.7.
Sure. Let's say like this. So let's just say you did these, and let's assume you actually did them right. But see, you won't know you did them right. Just do them how you did them. You won't know if you're right or wrong. You'll be like, I don't know. Keep going. This is the good news. Now, part C. They say, what's the probability of A happening given that B already happened? I don't remember given. Do you remember how to do given? Don't worry, you have to learn it before me. There exists something called conditional probability. It's this. This is the symbol you use. No, this means A given that B already happened. And good news, you look it up. There's an equation. So here's the thing. If you don't know how to do it, just think, I probably need my answer from above. This is extremely common. Almost every question that's conditional probability needs stuff you've already done. See, they like to build the question. I agree. I like how they built the questions. They build them up to where you need pieces from it. Oh. It's like puzzle piece. So watch. When you do this, there's actually an equation that goes like this. And people think, oh, I got to start over and figure all this out. Like, no. I need this, I put in that. I need this, I put in that. What if you're wrong on both of these? You're going to be right on this.
So you get full marks.
You'll get full marks on that part, assuming you did it right. Yes. I can only speak to math and the sciences. I can tell you in math studies, math SL, math HL, it's like this. I can tell you in bio, physics, and chem, it's like this. Those are the only ones I know for sure.
What about you never?
I'm not sure about, yes. Just so you know though, it's like this for bio, chem, and physics, math SL, studies, and HL, for sure. Don't know. Isn't this good to know?
Yeah.
We don't have
No.
I said we wouldn't do any math. Oops, we did some math. All right. So let's break things down by topic. So, by the way, those who know me, I love memes. So, I can tell you I've gotten a little bit crazy with the memes. It's kind of weird, but a challenge to myself was, can I build a company basically based on memes? And the answer is yes. Yes, I have. For example, in August, I have 3 assistants. We spent all of August, I told my assistants, look, August is meme month. We're gonna make 300 physics memes. Because I've been keeping track of all my favorite dumb puns or like stupid jokes in physics. Like these need to exist as memes. So I was like, use some meme generator thing, do some funny pictures, put these, select these on there, boom, bunch of memes. I don't put my name on them because they're not my pictures. Okay. There we go. So we play with it. I literally have a meme folder of math studies memes organized by topic and by subtopic. Would you like to see some? Yes. Here's the good news. I don't want you to think that you have to memorize everything I'm going to tell you. Okay, here's the good news. When we're done, I'm going to have a link. Obviously, you can't click on it, but you can take a picture of it. And that way you'll be able to get all this information. Because what I'm going to do is this. Now we're going to break things down by topic. And I'm going to quickly go through, very quickly, here's the stuff that shows up most often on the exams. I know this, because I can tell you even the probabilities in each of the show you. Anything that has a probability greater than 50% shows up on my list.
How far back did your data go?
To the beginning of this syllabus, which is May 2014. I don't care about anything before, because it doesn't count. I only look at the current syllabus. It's going to be hard to do next year, because I'm going to have exactly 0 data points to use. No, I'll have one. I'll discuss on paper a little bit. This one, I got really good data. I can tell you the most likely question on paper 1.
What is it?
Your name.
Sure, look, check it out.
Oh,
I'll show you the most likely question on paper 1. Watch this. It's going to be, hold on. So what I'll do is this. I'm going to have a way for you to get all this stuff right here for free. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this. You're going to see that this one here, check this out. I call this,
Most likely question.
I call it the most likely question on paper 1. Isn't that a good name? I'm not good at the name for it, but this is the most likely question. It's usually paper 1, question 1. It's usually this. Do you recognize something like this? It's like some weird equation business going on.
Yes.
Then you have like A, B's, and just put in stuff. Tell me what you get on your calculator. Now, what if you messed this up? You got this part wrong, because it's very easy to make a mistake here. The hardest part about this question is the first thing. Just do it right. Make a pretty fraction. You know, do pretty fractions on each side. Do that. Right? You get the answer. Full calculator display. Then they say, all right, do it to 2 decimal places. So they're talking about rounding. Then do it to 3 significant figures. Then do it A times 10 to the K. That just means scientific notation. So it looks hard, but when you know how to do it, this is really straightforward when you've practiced these. This is what you do. What if this here was wrong? All these will be wrong, but as long as you rounded it properly, you did this properly, you can get full marks on all of this, even if that's wrong. Again, ECF. This is the most likely question.
I'm ready for a try.
Just simply speaking, I would be...
number in the beginning and then just do it all.
Yep. Isn't that good to know? What I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you this. When we're done, I'm going to have a link that you can actually click on. Well, not click on, but I just take a picture of. You can go there. What I like to do, I like to share this information with students. So I call this 8 emails in 8 days. 8 emails in 8 days. I like to name it exactly what you're going to get. Guess what you're going to get? You're going to put an email address. You're going to get 8 emails in 8 days. Why is that? Tomorrow you'll get an email saying, welcome to day 1, here's topic 1, and I'll give you all the stuff that shows up most often on topic 1, including predictions for the May 2020.
I'm excited.
The IB says you're supposed to be a risk taker. I'm a risk taker, so last year I was 84% correct, so it's not bad. I mean, they're predictions. I don't write the exam, I don't know. But I'm just saying, they're quite predictable. And you'll see a teacher, if you've looked at a lot of them, like, yeah, of course, they always do this. You get a feeling for, yeah, these always show up. Well, I wanted to quantify it instead of just a feeling. And I was like, boy, there seems to be a lot of chi-squared on there. I was like, I wonder how often. That's actually my first question. I was like, well, I wonder a lot of things. How about I just do the whole analysis? So like, this is the result, okay? But, now, keep in mind, anyone in the world who comes on to Study Nova, they can always get access to that. But I like to give something special. Students I met with in person, I like to do something special. Because this, honestly, is why I do it. Meeting. So, anyone who signs up, I'm just doing like applause breaks, don't worry. You guys are very kind. What I'm going to do is this. Anyone who signs up today, so by the way, so you just have to put in your email address. You'll see I love memes, so you'll get a Ninja Turtle high five. It sounds really random, but I promise you. The Ninja Turtles will give you a high five if you sign up. What that means, you'll get an email tomorrow, automated from me. I have a 3 meme minimum. You'll see a little bit. There's 3 memes related to topic 1. And also talk about the predictions and what's going to show up. But what I'll do is this. If you sign up today, before I go to bed tonight, what I'm going to do is I'll look on Study Nova, say anybody who signed up from the UAE today, I'm going to assume it was you. So if you use a VPN, I'm sure you don't. And if you do, make sure you put your location to UAE, or else I won't find you. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to spam the whole world. I just want to write to the UAE people today. So I'll write you an email with extra stuff. I'll send you, what could I send? Oh, I can send you a fully solved by hand exam, paper 1 and 2, showing every step of every question. Because
Nice.
I find the mark schemes, keep in mind, they're not helpful for students. They're not meant for students.
So where do I sign up?
Yeah, don't worry, I want to give you some good things. My whole goal is to come here and then just blow your minds and make you go, ugh, and with a smile. That's, I hope. If you like, I'll share with you my meme folder if you like. Actually, do you want some memes now? Maybe it's a good
Yes,
time.
yeah.
What do you want to see? Let's see, hold on. I got math images. Which topic? You want
Geometry.
Oh, I got a lot of them. Is the slopes? Oh, I just saw that one right here. Look. You're about to see that. It's good thing I'm wearing my slope. I honestly don't know why. I just thought that was so funny. I don't know why. Geometry demonstrates acute angle. The perpendicular. Keep in mind, I don't want memes to be racist or sexist, and unfortunately, a lot of memes are racist and sexist. So keep in mind, I try to keep that away. So you'll notice a lot of animal memes. There's a reason. I don't want anyone feeling sad. So there we go. Oh, this is actually a good one. You ever heard the show Seinfeld?
Yeah.
Remember Sokentoa? Okay, this is an old one, but I don't know if you recognize that game.
For one.
Diagram Cat. Oh, this is a good one. This is an old one, but it's a good one. Just cancel the N 6. This is not how you do math. By the way, just so you know, I absolutely, this is one of my favorites, so thank you for putting that up. That's such a good one.
Oh, yeah.
Every time I do this, a puppy dies. I've seen one that's like, please think of the puppies. I don't know why. Like I said, honestly, these are not really for you, they're actually for me. These are just to make me laugh. If I laugh, if I LOL, then I put it here. So, I might be There's a good trick, omnometry. This is really, not sure if the math problem is easier if I'm doing it entirely wrong. Anyway, there's a lot. This is a good one. I'm still confused why I need to put the tip in 120 degrees. It's especially good for Americans. It's because Americans do temperatures and... actually, no, maybe this is something. That's cute. There's many. There's many. Unfortunately, I don't have quite as many as in physics. In physics, I have just over 600.
Just over 600.
So there's a lot of physics.
Sure.
I'll show you the physics one if you like. I've even got folders of like ones I haven't used yet. I mean, keep in mind, I've got them like multiple folders. Like I've got like double folders of them, like these ones, that's like. Oh, anybody doing chemistry? It's Avogadro. It says, hey ladies, take my number. It's Avogadro's number. That's good. This is a bad one. Because we do thermal physics, we do about gases and things. So. There's a guy that plays the heat. Anyway, there's literally hundreds. I've even got a folder of like ones I haven't dealt with yet. These are ones like I like to picture or I like to text, but I need to edit them. So these are like need to be edited to use.
So
I've got.
It's
like, you know. This is going to make some of those dumb things, right? This is a bad one. It's a seal say when it sounds like concrete wall. I have a lot of them. This is a cute one, actually, a branch manager, because we do circuits with branches. We do things with actually wood, so this is so cute. I would. Get it?
It does look like it does.
That's brilliant. Honestly, some of these, this is actually a good one. You're going to feel a little bit of pressure. You ready? Yes. This is just younger on as a career path. Oh, this is a good one, actually. Can't think of more examples. This is a great one if you do bio. This is fantastic. So now just funny time, because maybe we take a little break. So I'll share with you those, don't worry. We have until 15 after that, right?
I never know.
Because I don't ever want to be even a minute late. That's always my goal. I don't want to be even 1 minute late. So, all right. What shows up most often then? Let's get back to the pen.
Can I take pictures of it?
You're gonna get.
Oh,
Yeah,
we're
you
gonna
can get them all in the email. You get them. You'll get like a paragraph about each. You'll get them way more.
I want the answers for people.
Okay, so don't worry. But you absolutely can. I don't mind. But I'm just gonna be photobombing all your pictures. All right. So what shows up a lot? They actually really like currency conversions. Those show up very often. Now think about this. Let's be tactical. Do you think it shows up more on paper 1 or on paper 2? Are they,
Paper 1.
are they short or are they long to do?
Short.
They're kind
They're
of.
short. So where would you put them?
Paper 1.
Paper 1. So would I. Good news. They show up on paper. These are my predictions, by the way. So these are my predictions for May 2020 in order. Keep in mind, if it makes this list, it shows up more than half the time. If it makes my list of predictions, it means I'm quite confident this is showing up this year. So look at this. So did I say the most likely question is like putting in values?
Yeah.
There it is. It's probably question 1 on paper 1. Isn't that nice? It might be question 2. Ooh, but it's still going to be financial math. Isn't that also pretty quick? Especially with your awesome PI Inspire. Inspire class. You just put in your math thing. You know how you show your work on that bad board? Do you know how you do that? You just go, use GDC, finance, just go N equals, I equals, PV equals. Just say what you put in. That's showing your work. Because what if you did it wrong? Keep in mind this. If you did this question, let's say this question was worth 2 marks. You didn't show me any work. You just wrote, this is the answer. And it's out of 2? No, you can get 2 marks. Because they won't penalize you for not showing your work. That's the good news. You don't have to show your work. But then you're playing a dangerous game. There's only 2 answers. There's only 2 different marks I can give you. This is out of 2 marks, and you only wrote this. I can either give you 2 out of 2 because it's correct, or I can give you 0 out of 2 because it's incorrect. There is nothing in the middle I can give you. Why? You didn't show your work. Same if you did it like this. If you just said my answer is -2, and you didn't show me your work, I can only give you 0 out of 4. Why? It's wrong, and I don't know what you did. If you showed your work, now I can give you full marks. See the difference? To show your work, it's a good idea. All right, so most likely let currency conversions show up in paper 1. And now, the stuff that takes more time to do, isn't arithmetic and geometric? A lot of students find those harder. I don't know if you do, but a lot of students do, so you're not alone if you do. But those are a little bit longer to solve, aren't they? Where would you put them? Paper 2. They show up more in paper 2. So it's reasoning. The questions go where they should. Like I said, you may not like it, you don't have to. You may not find it easy, but at least they go where they're supposed to. This is a great one. Oh, let me see here. So, what shows up there? Using your calculator for basic stats, box and whisker plots, mean, standard deviation, that sort of stuff. Ooh, I have to show you the box and whisker. That reminds me. I don't have a script I follow. I just like to change it and go by what I feel like. Let me show you one. Should I show you one? I was inspired by this. Stop at 2. There. This one. Of course, the cat wants it. You know this one here? Oh, you have to. This is you have to know what square root of -1 is. That's not in math syllabus for you. But it's called I. Square root of -1 is called I. So I. Now what's 2 to the power of 3? You know that? 2 times 2 times 2. 8. You know what this means?
Yes.
Sigma, but it means sum.
I ate some.
So I ate some.
Ah.
Didn't say they're good.
I ate some pie.
So we do this. Basic stats shows up a lot. This is good news. Most students find this dead easy. If you know how to use your calculator, you have to practice the skill. You can do it. These are usually not so bad. These are just 1-bar stats. Cumulative frequency. Ooh, there's a graph for this. Do you know what this graph looks like? Cumulative frequency. Can anyone show me with their hands what this graph is?
The dog form?
Oh, close.
It's a bell curve.
Almost. No, it's not a bell curve.
There's not a bell curve.
Yes, there it is. It goes like this. I'm doing it for you. For you, it goes like this. Like this. Remember that stuff? That stuff is a bit harder, so study that. Like most students find pretty much everything from this topic easy, except for this, so now you know what to study. By the way, box and whisker actually shows up enough, so it's worth doing. It's a good one for probability. If I can't calculate the probability of passing my probability test, does that mean there's a low probability I'll pass? Yeah, probably. Probably. Yeah, so in blue, you can't see it very clearly, but this is the logic stuff. This is logic. Do you remember doing that stuff? Yes. Truth tables? That one's a bit weird. I usually give students that topic just when we're getting tired of doing something, like I can sense my students are a little bit tired, like, let's just do logic because it's just different. Some people don't like it because it's too different, but I can tell you that when you crack the code of how to do these truth tables, then they're, dare I say it, fun. They can be
also on the formula chart. So
they give you everything you need on the formula chart. The important thing though is you need to know some definitions. You need to know converse, inverse, contrapositive, tautology, I guess, logical equivalence. When you know those, you're good to go. Probability, however, these are where a lot of students find it tougher. So this is a tougher one for a lot of them. You actually do almost exactly the same probability stuff as Math SL students. It's very similar. You do conditional probability like they do, all this stuff, Math SL students also teach. So sometimes Math SL students are being snubbed, we do really advanced probability. Nope. Or if you do, you guys also do. So there we go. So what's most common? Combined events, tree Venn diagrams on paper 1. That's because they're short. Say again? Oh, good question. Like,
most likely to that.
now watch. What if I do something like this? Probability of A or B is equal to the probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of A and B. Be careful. Like this. Those are combined events. You can have them being dependent or independent. You can have them where you multiply them. That's and you add them when it's
Oh,
or.
okay.
So that stuff, that's what I meant by this. And I'm glad you asked. See, I'm really glad you guys asked. And a lot of this stuff shows up on paper 2 as well. Okay, now this is maybe my favorite meme. Keep in mind, Math SLs don't do this. Math HLs only do this in one of their options. So keep in mind, so some people are like, yeah, math studies isn't very advanced. Here, this is way more advanced. Like only people doing further math. And by the way, I can tell you this. This is one of the math skills that I actually know people who are biologists who use this. Like this is, some people are like, when will I ever use this? Like, oh, I know people who actually use this. Chi-squared independence. It's a way to test statistically if a thing is related to another thing. Not related, we're going to say independent. Do you remember when you do chi-squared? Do you remember what H0 means?
Null hypothesis.
Oh, good, null hypothesis. Don't they pretty much always ask you for that in a question? It's like, what is a null hypothesis? There's an easy trick. Blah and blah are independent.
Oh, yeah, I know.
So you can say like, height and shoe size are independent. Whatever two things you're looking at, make it the first thing and the second thing are, and you have to say independent. That must be your null hypothesis, H0. Then you do some magic. But this is absolutely worth learning how to do. Do not dare to go to your exam without being a rock star at chi-squared. It will show up at least once, very often, twice. So don't even consider going to your exam without being like, well, what would I do for chi-squared? I know exactly what I would do. I would do H0 is the thing and thing are independent. Degrees of freedom, don't have to worry about it. It's too easy. My calculator will do it all for me. I have to know to put this stuff in a matrix in my calculator, then press go. And then I have to memorize, hey, if my chi-squared is bigger than something, or if something is less than something, you know what I mean? Like there's a p-value and a critical value. You just have to know these stipulations. When you know that, it's dead easy. If you don't, it's super hard. So good news, when you know it, then it becomes easy. Now do you remember what you end up doing when you conclude? You can conclude to reject H0, isn't that how it goes?
Yeah.
Or accept, but actually, did you know you're not technically supposed to say accept? If you're really being careful mathematically, all you can say is reject or fail to reject. Isn't that kind of dumb? Is it, you mean accept? No. Fail to reject. No, there's a meme that a student sent me a couple years ago. I liked this so much. Like, this is the cutest, best meme. It's my favorite meme, but it's deep. You gotta understand chi-squared, right? Because it makes fun of this stupidity that, instead of saying accept, we say fail to reject. This is a Valentine's Day meme. Isn't it so cute? If you're a null hypothesis, I would fail to reject you.
So if I send you a good meme, can you send me the 2020 math?
I can't because I'll only see it a day after you do it.
You're a tipo. You don't get it before?
Sorry, I can't get it before because I won't see it before. For all the rules. So, most common, by the way, bad news for you, it's kind of all of them. Normal distributions are often the tough ones. Usually students don't find linear regression so bad. Do you do it on your calculator? Don't you do lin reg?
Yes.
There you go. The question is always the same. It's always the same. The question is like, here's a table of values. Write the regression equation in the form ax plus b. What's a, what's b? Then they say, write down the Pearson's correlation coefficient. Hold on, what's that called? R. So I just go, here's R. Then the hard part. So they'll say, here's your equation to predict what happens if like the shoe size was this, what would the height be? Just put in your values. If you know how to do it, dead easy, show up on every example. There's never been an exam that didn't have it. Is this good to know? Paper 1 or 2. It shows up anyway. Chi-squared, all the time. Normal distributions, however, those are harder. So make sure you study those. Those are a little bit harder for a lot of students, especially using inverse normal. It's a little bit tough. So, predictions, sadly, just like it's going to show up on paper 1 and 2, all 4. You're going to have all 4. They show up on every time. Every exam has all 4 of them, and usually just like 2 and 2, sometimes it's 3 and 1, not like on paper 1 and 2, but all these are going to show up. Very often, normal distribution and inverse normal will be on the same question. Now, do you think it's really quick or really long to do?
That'd be long.
Relatively long. Where would you put it? Good. You're very likely going to find it on paper 2. See, you're reasonable. The exam is reasonable. Things go where they should. Geometry and trig. Oh, this is such a bad one. It's like hypotenuse, Hippocrates. You got hippopotamus. I got a hippopotamus. Hippocrates, and then we got Hippocrates. And then Hippocrates out. But what shows up most often on this one? Kind of everything. I got an awesome math joke for you. Ready? What's a mathematician's favorite food?
Pie.
Pie? Good. Okay, that's a good one. That's actually not the one I was thinking, but it's also good.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'll tell you in a second.
Man.
But okay, actually, do you know about Pi Day?
Oh yeah.
Now, this is the thing. The rest of the world does dates, like day, month, year. But when I moved to the States, those Americans do it kind of crazy. They do month, day, year for some weird reason. So, good news though, there's a math nerd holiday. It's called Pi Day. Can you guess when it would be? What are the first 3 digits of pi? 3.14? What date is 3.14?
March 14th.
March 14th is a nerd holiday. You should gather with your nerd friends, and what should you eat?
Pie.
Better than that, you know what you can do? This is really nerdy, but this is what I like to do.
2 pies.
You could. 2 pies, well then you talk radians, and then we get them out myself. That's an inside joke. No, you should bring a square pie. Because do you know what the area of a circle is?
106.
Pi r squared. Almost like saying pies r squared. Now actually the joke I was thinking of is another mathematician's favorite food, coleslaw. So, when you do this stuff, right angle trig, that's the stuff like Pythagoras theorem, SOHCAHTOA business, that stuff shows up all the time. If you're good at it, good for you. If you're not, you need to practice it. Sine and cos rule, those are more involved, aren't they? They're a little bit tougher. I think they are. They're the tougher one. Area of a triangle is also tougher until you sort of crack the code. I would say definitely spend some time on these. They're doable. You can sort of crack the code in your head. You can sort of figure it out. When you do, you've got it. But you have to spend some mental effort to play. How does this work again? How do I set them up? Especially because they like to call them like A's, B's, and C's. And then on your test, it'll be like P, Q, R. So you have to know how it works, not just memorizing or learning what the A is. So those are kind of hard for a lot of students. Sine and cos rule. Do you think those are paper 1 or paper 2? Do they take longer to do or they're really quick? Those are longer to do. Shouldn't those show up on paper 2?
Yeah.
Good news, it's reasonable. Sine and cos rule shows up on paper 2. Bad news if you hate 3D trig because they show up on both. But good news, the right angle trick, the quote-unquote easier stuff, it's very often on paper 1. Linear graphs, which is also relatively straightforward for some people. So it's reasonable. Mathematical models, I love this one. Who's a good boy? No, he's like calculating stuff, but do you recognize this equation now?
Yes.
Ah, that helps you solve quadratics. It's a quadratic equation. It tells you the zero. It tells you, how's this? I could use a quadratic equation to solve this. Right? This number in front of x squared is a. This is b. This is c. I can figure it out.
You know the solve that x is equals to negative b plus or minus the square b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
And that would really help if you're doing GCSEs because you have to memorize it. But good news, if you're a math studies student, just go, oh, I look it up. But you're absolutely right. If that helps you to memorize it, that's good.
I'm not there either.
Miss Joey.
Oh, Steph's following up is bothering you.
Miss Joey.
So what shows up most often? Using your calculator to solve, that's true. That's an important one. Quadratics, especially finding the roots or the vertex. Hey, you haven't done calculus yet, is that true? We won't talk about calculus so much as a really bad one, because you do things called tangents, you do things called derivatives. So your math teacher might like this. This is extremely bad. It's actually too much even for me. So you have a lot of calculus here, and actually you do some pretty advanced calculus. Can I tell you this? Math SL students I spoke to yesterday were surprised how much calculus math studies students do. Oh, they do everything you guys do. Really? Yeah. When I told them they do optimization, they do equation of tangents normal, then the students are like, whoa, that's pretty advanced.
What's the difference?
Okay, let's keep that in mind. So that's what you get to do. Is it going to work? You have your learner profile? Hey, you're a risk taker. You're just having up. So that's good. And you're also balanced. Look, you're balanced.
Ah! Alright.
See, you're gonna carry
That's good.
So much.
That's good. That it's the mirror in front of you. So, let's put this together now. Here are the totals. You might be interested in this. Here are the total results. So, if you think about this, if you put a paper 1 and its own paper 2 together, here are the percentages. Here's the line.
This is a prediction, right?
Well, this is a prediction of where the emphasis will be. These don't change much. I've looked at the standard deviations. So what that means is like, how much do they differ from the mean? They don't differ very much. This is pretty stable. This is a pretty good indicator of what's
Can I
happening.
take a picture of this?
So what does this mean? Look, geometry and trig is big, but what's number 2? Very close number 2 is numbers and algebra. Remember those of you who voted for that?
Yes.
Weren't totally crazy. It's very, very close. It's pretty much a tie.
So what's the probability of trigonometry and geometry?
Well, they're all, you could say this is somewhat of a well, it's not really likelihood, this is emphasis. Because I counted by the number of marks. I looked at number of marks out of 90.
So
That's what I have. So when I say the number of marks, then I look at the average of the averages and look at like what average number of marks.
Oh.
So this tells you not the percent likelihood of it showing
How
up,
many marks you got?
but it's a percentage of work, which is some way of saying that. Yeah.
So wait, based on like you analyzing all the tests every year, is it similar amount of marks for each topic?
Yeah, so I could say
And
on
by how much
average,
they vary?
20% of the marks on your paper 1 and 2, so that's out of 180 marks. On average, 20% of the marks are going to be from that topic. And that's what this is saying.
Why is the trig have the most? It's just the error.
Why does trig have the most? I don't know. Ask the IB.
Are they relatively the same for all the tests?
Yes.
So that means that even the
This is very predictable. How is this? This is very likely the emphasis you will have on your test as well. If you're asking that, yes. In other words, you'll likely have the least amount of calculus and descriptive statistics marks. Yes. You'll likely have the most marks on geometry and trig, and very close, but just under that will be numbers and algebra. That's the case. How about this? How about I get out of the way? You take a picture of this. This is a good thing to do. Take this picture. This will be worth your while.
If you want to finish within 10 minutes, that's fine. Okay.
So wait, so is this where you sign up?
So this is just take a picture of this, and this is what you can do. You can put your email in here, and then you'll get the Ninja Turtle high five. And then you'll get an email from me with all the extra things like the memes and the exam and all that stuff. Okay? But you'll also be what you'll be signing up for here is an email tomorrow. You'll get an email with like here's topic 1.
So what are you talking about, the VPN?
Yeah, this.
What are the VPN?
No, I'm saying if you use a VPN to spoof your location, because some people might do that.
Oh,
Don't do it. How's this? What if you say you're from Spain when you sign up? I won't find you tonight. I'm going to log on and say, anyone who signed up today from UAE is who I'm going to email. If you use the VPN to say you're in Spain when you sign up, my computer's going to think you're from Spain. I won't find you. If you've already signed up with us at some point before, then just write me an email. Just write to, if you have any questions here, just write, we're almost done, but not quite. I want to show you. So, write to this email right here. Ready? Mitch? It's not very clear. Here you go. So, if you have any questions, just write to this. I don't put this email on my website because I get mega spam. So,
I stress IB students.
just oh yes, I can tell you, I got like 100 emails. Yeah, I got like 100 emails the day before exams. You just go, help. I don't answer. What am I going to answer? I hope you studied. Honestly,
oh yeah.
we get literally hundreds of emails. So, but that's why I don't have that email available. This email right here is the only one that I answer because I've got a lot of other people to help me with it. If you find any other emails on our side, they're going to go to other people. But if you email Mitch or no, it's only me who will answer.
What is this?
Say again?
What is this email for?
In case you have any questions. Now, what I want to tell you about, this is a chat. So this is all free, by the way, so you're welcome to join me for that. Like I said, if you sign up for this thing, you'll get the emails. You'll get an email from me tonight with all those extra links. However, if you want to help my company, this is what I do. Remember I said it's a non-profit. That implies there's money coming in. Just saying you can do something. You can be selfish and help me. I do a revision course here in Dubai. Where? Here, in this city. Not at this school, unfortunately, but it's a different school. You're welcome to join me. I used to work for another firm called OSC. Not to say anything bad about them, they have a great idea, but honestly, this is like 13 years ago. I used to think, wow, they have a great idea, they're doing it wrong. They're doing it all wrong. They're doing it in a way that maximizes money, not student results. Remember, I said I'm very lucky. My wife's the one with all the money. I said, all right, what would you do if you designed a revision course where you didn't care about money, you care about results? That's my course. So we've done a ton of research. My assistants, and the people who did the 3 meme minimum, those meme assistants, we spent a couple years ago 2 entire summers doing nothing but research on what has been demonstrably shown to work. That's my course. So our course is not over 2 days, it's over 5 days. But it's 5 half days, because studies show you can't do too long of a day or else people get too tired, especially if it's the same thing. So we split it up over 5 half days. Does that make sense? But good news, that means you can still take 2 subjects because you have, let's say, 5 mornings of Math SL, or Math Studies, I mean. And then you can take another subject. So you can take 1 or 2 subjects at our course. You're welcome to join us. Most common combination is Math Studies and Bio. It is. Now, I've been doing revision courses. My first course was in Denmark. That one's a big one. We usually have like just over 200 students that come to that. 20 teachers, it's pretty big. But then I decided I wanted to expand to other locations but make them small, cozy courses. That's my Dubai course. So the Dubai one is not big. I don't want it to be big. I stop it. Usually 50 is my limit. Absolutely. And that means the classes are very, very small. There's a maximum of 12 spots for Math Studies. There's 12 spots for Math SL. There's 12 spots for Bio SL. 12 spots for Bio HL. So only 12 spots in each class. When it's full, it's done. Last year we had 30 people on a waiting list. Like people just signed up too late. I said, I'm sorry, it's full. People got super desperate. They're like, oh God, please, we'll pay you extra money. I said, I'm sorry, it's not that. I said, we have to keep the class. You signed up too late. You know what's kind of funny? One student did. One of the students actually from Dubai last year was like, can I come to another one of your courses? Like, yeah, you can. I was like, I'm in Doha the week after. So one of them, he came to Doha the week after. And one of them actually flew to Denmark. So it's awesome. We had to apply to get him a visa to visit. It was easy. He was like, yeah, sure. So actually, there's actually a kid not even from here. He's a kid from Bahrain. He actually flew to Denmark. And it snowed. And he was like, I've never seen snow before. This is awesome. It's awesome. Honestly, it was fantastic. This kid had a great time. So just keep that in mind. So you're welcome to join us, but why not join us at our Dubai course, okay? Yes?
Where in Dubai is
It's at EISJ. I know everybody's always like, whatever's not their school, they never like it. But they treat me really well. I like it. Doesn't matter though, because last year we had students from 17 different schools come. So it doesn't matter that it's held at EISJ. There's only like a couple students from there. You'll meet students from everywhere. That's, you're going to join us. It's during your holiday. You have a holiday this time, so you don't have school. Keep in mind, unfortunately, this one isn't free. This one does cost money. But you're welcome to join us. We have 5 days of classes. This guy looks creepy. But you know what's kind of funny is when I started a course in Dubai. I was the first person to start a course here. It was 7 years ago. You know what happened the year after that? 4 courses existed. Then I guess people said, hey, this works, we'll all do it. But they all copied each other and they didn't copy me. Good in a way. Because then the next year there were 3 courses, next year there were 2. Guess how many courses there are this year? 1. Back to 1. They don't seem to copy me right. They seem to copy everybody's flawed ideas. You know this idea of doing it over 2 days, everyone's, that works. It doesn't work at all.
So will you be there?
Yes.
At those classes?
Yes, it depends on the subject. So what we do at my course, we do study time. What that means, now studies have shown that students learn best when they do their homework not at home.
Exactly.
Now their teacher's not listening, I can tell you this. Studies show homework, like home is the worst place to do your homework.
Yeah, because your environment.
Because you are distracted.
Exactly.
Aren't you? So all the other revision courses, they claim, hey, we're going to give you homework to do. It's like, don't advertise that. That's a terrible thing to tell people. That tells you we're going to do it in the worst way possible. And ours, we said, we're going to give you homework to do, but you don't do it at home. You do it with us. So we're going to say, yes, we're going to give you homework to do, but I don't call it homework, I call it study time. Guess what? It's the time when you study. So what we'll do is this. You'll have classes with your teacher, sure. And then we're going to say, now during study time, work on these exam questions. We flip the classroom. Because teachers don't go home. It's part of their days to then assist students. That when a student is stuck, like, hey, I don't know how to solve 2A. Then I can come along and immediately, so you're not distracted, be like, yeah, have you thought about that equation? Then get out of the way. They do. And they feel great. Because if I tell them the answer, it doesn't matter. They have to figure it out. You see what I mean? So that actually works. The length of our classes is based on research. The length of our breaks, the food we feed them, all of it is based on this. That's my course. I'm quite proud of it. Can you tell I'm biased? But it's really good. Every student who comes, you can ask them. They always love it. So we have good teachers. I'm not in any way trying to say that our course is an indictment on teaching. In no way is that the case. My own students at my own school in Denmark, for example, a few of them signed up for my physics class in Denmark, in my Danish revision course. I actually told them, you shouldn't have me as a teacher at a revision course. Have someone else. You need to hear it from someone else. So no matter how great your teacher is, maybe you've heard it 5 times from them, maybe you just need to hear it, it's that 6th time that helps. Great. This course only works because of good teaching. See, we can't teach you everything in 5 days, there's no way. That's why it's a 2-year course, do you see what I mean? But if you want to revise, if you think, hey, during the Easter break, I want to study, but I'm worried I might be distracted, why not try this out? I tell our students who come, I said, we're going to do a social experiment on you. It's going to be, how about you try it out for 5 days to study the way studies show you should. So we make you do it. So almost every one of the students, when they're done, they're like, wow, that wasn't nearly as bad as I thought. I can't believe I studied so much. Like, yeah. You have the right, because we give you breaks. You have to have breaks. So even our timing of our breaks, everything is based on what works. You'll see, by the end of it, most students are like, well, I think I could do this next week without you guys. Like, yeah, exactly. I don't want repeat customers. It's a weird business model, but don't come back. Don't, because I want you to do awesome and go on to do awesome things. Don't come back to my course. I want you to help you once and then show you some skills that'll help you. So our teachers are really amazing. For math studies, I hope again I can get Arhodia is her name. She's Greek. She's so good. She started off at our Danish course. She has a master's in astrophysics. She detected planets around other stars. She's this ridiculously talented math teacher. Her students love her. She started out my revision courses before she even started teaching. She was just being an astronomer. I said, oh, dude, you should really teach at my course. I don't know if I want to. I said, you absolutely should. Of all of our teachers, she consistently is our top-rated teacher at any of our courses. She even does better than me. That's who you should hire. I was like, do you want? So she's been on my Danish course for 4 years. Last year I invited her. Now she's really afraid of flying. But I was like, do you want to come with me to Dubai? I don't like planes. I know. What would it take? She's like, well, my boyfriend, he can calm me down. I was like, I'll fly in your boyfriend. I don't care. Whatever brings you in and keeps you calm. So she did. So she came to Dubai, and she wants to come again this year. So if I can get her again, I will. Otherwise, my other backup is a lady named Kate. She's this little old lady. She's 70. She is so sweet. She's so kind. And all the students are always like, I wish she was my grandma. She's so nice. She knows everything about the math studies, so does Auntie. So you're going to get people who are going to show you their stuff. They really know how to teach. And they specialize in doing revision courses because it's a different skill. Do you know what I mean? Like teaching a course over 2 years is one thing. It's a totally different skill to try to condense it. So that's what you'll have. Oh, by the way, if you do bio, my teacher for bio is a guy named Daniel Baker. Oh my God, he's amazing. Okay, so he's one of the ones who trains like new teachers. So if you're a new teacher to bio, he's the IB teacher for you. He's one who teaches the teachers. He's one of the examiners for bio, SL, and HL. He helped develop the syllabus. He used to actually run one of the schools here.
Which school?
He came at GWA, Times World Academy. He used to be the IB coordinator there. Now he works in Sweden, but I like him so much, I just fly him in. I was like, where do you want to go? He's like, I'd like to come to Dubai again this year. I was like, done. Right. You know, he's also a stand-up comedian. So you will never meet a funnier bio teacher. Honestly, when I had my class beside him, and his students just like, they're all laughing. He's like, okay, is it stand-up time? But actually they all leave like, I think I can do the exam now. So you're going to laugh and accidentally, whoops, we all said bye. So these are the teachers that I have. If you do chem, I've got a guy named Jacek who's Polish, who's amazing. Yeah? Oh yeah, we got to go. Good. You're welcome to join us. How's that? Come join us. You're welcome to join us. So, if you'd like to come to our course, you're welcome to. You don't have to, but if you'd like to, you're welcome to take one of these. Thank you very much for your time. I hope I get an email from you. Thank you, everybody.
Already did.
So much.